Time may take away the icons we grew up with, but it can never erase their legacy. Today, we remember the stars lost in recent days and honor a beloved legend who is quietly finding her way back to the light. They weren't just performers, they were part of our childhood. Join American Legends Tribute as we reflect on their final moments and the legacy that still lives on.
I feel like I exist well between those two words for the most part.
Robert Duvall spent a lifetime becoming other men, and then quietly chose to walk away from it all. Actor, rancher, a presence you felt more than you heard, the kind of man whose face stayed with you long after the credits faded. Most people remember him as Tom Hagen in The Godfather. Calm, steady, never raising his voice yet somehow holding the room. That was Duvall. He never chased attention. It came to him anyway. He began with a small role in To Kill a Mockingbird. Easy to miss. But by the time audiences saw him, they believed him. That was his gift. 7 Oscar nominations over 6 decades, and still he never performed. As one director said, watching him felt unsettling. Because he didn't act, he became. Hollywood wanted spectacle. Duvall wanted truth. For years, he lived in the spaces others ignored. The advisor, the soldier, the broken man. Then came Tender Mercies. McSledge, a washed-up singer with nothing left but silence. Duvall didn't play the pain, he carried it. And in that quiet, he found his only Oscar, and a role that felt more like confession than performance. When the industry wanted more, he chose a horse farm in Virginia instead. He chose stillness over spotlight, truth over fame. And somehow, he was right. Some legends don't shine the brightest. They simply stay.
I didn't know you were going to have to stand here and listen to this.
I know, me too.
Give you a chair.
I know, right?
Tragically, Catherine O'Hara, the beloved comedic genius who warmed our hearts in Home Alone and dazzled us in Schitt's Creek, has sadly passed away at 71. Her remarkable journey began in the 1970s with the legendary SCTV troupe, earning her first Emmy. By the early 1990s, she became a cherished holiday staple worldwide as the fiercely loving mother in the Home Alone blockbusters, radiating a rare, genuine warmth. Yet her path wasn't always easy. For years, Hollywood struggled to understand her delightfully eccentric style. Instead of changing to fit the mold, she fearlessly embraced her unique voice, finding creative sanctuary in Christopher Guest's mockumentaries. This unwavering authenticity paved the way for her spectacular reinvention with Schitt's Creek. Her masterclass performance as Moira Rose won a second Emmy 4 decades after her first, proving true brilliance never fades. Survived by her husband Bo Welch and 2 sons, her loss leaves peers like Macaulay Culkin heartbroken, lamenting, "I thought we had time." If Catherine brought a smile to your face over the years, we'd love to read your favorite memories of her below. Rest peacefully, Catherine. Your beautiful laughter echoes in our hearts forever.
In periods of my life, I did drift from the Lord, but the Lord never drifted from me.
Chuck Norris, who stood as an invincible symbol of justice for a generation, has passed away at 86. To the world, he was the unbreakable walker, Texas Ranger, a martial arts legend whose quiet strength commanded the screen. But the true measure of his character was born in the painful battles of his youth. Growing up in the turbulent shadow of an alcoholic father, young Chuck carried the heavy burdens of crippling shyness and profound self-doubt. He didn't learn karate to fight others. He learned it to fight his own fears. Step by step, through sheer discipline, he bravely shattered the shell of a frightened boy to become a man of unshakable faith. Instead of losing himself to fame, he used his success to shield others. He consciously chose to be a wholesome role model, as dedicating his life to keeping at-risk kids off the streets and giving them the confidence he once so desperately lacked. Survived by his wife Gina and his children, his passing leaves a quiet sorrow. If his gentle toughness brought comfort to your living room over the years, we would love to read your memories below. Rest peacefully, Chuck. Your true strength was always your heart.
$1 million. Now, the night would come and go, but the money could last a lifetime.
Robert Redford, the cinematic icon whose breathtaking charm defined a golden era of Hollywood, has passed away. To the world, he was the ultimate leading man. With his rugged elegance and a smile that felt almost unreal, he captivated audiences in classics like Butch Cassidy and The Sundance Kid. He could have easily spent his entire life coasting on his blinding movie star magnetism and undeniable beauty. But behind that flawless image was a restless, grounded soul who craved substance over the spotlight. Instead of clinging to fame, he stepped behind the camera to tell deeply human stories, winning an Oscar for his directorial debut. More profoundly, he used his immense privilege to build a sanctuary for others. By creating the Sundance Institute, he transformed his own towering success into a lifeline for struggling, unseen filmmakers who just needed a chance. Off-screen, he fought just as fiercely to protect our natural world. He leaves behind a loving family and an industry forever changed by his vision. If his unforgettable characters or quiet wisdom ever touched your life, we would be deeply honored to read your memories below. Rest peacefully, Robert. Your generous spirit will forever guide us.
When you were a little girl, you were like my own child to me. I could have you then.
You can have me now.
Richard Chamberlain, who defined sweeping on-screen romance for a generation of television viewers, has passed away at 90. To the world, he was the ultimate leading man. As the unforgettable Father Ralph in The Thornbirds, his magnetic charm brought poetic love into millions of living rooms. But behind the confident gaze of Hollywood's perfect heartthrob, he waged a deeply lonely battle. Thrust into an era that demanded a flawless, traditional facade, he was forced to hide his true identity as a gay man. For decades, he traded his authentic self for the world's adoration, smiling for the cameras while carrying the heavy, silent burden of isolation and the heartbreaking belief that who he was somehow wrong. Yet, instead of letting that secret define his entire legacy, he eventually chose courage over conformity. He shattered the very illusion that made him famous, stepping fully into his truth. By reclaiming his own narrative, he found a profound peace that no amount of stardom could ever provide. Survived by his longtime partner Martin, his passing leaves a quiet sorrow. If his captivating presence brought warmth to your home over the years, we would love to read your memories below. Rest peacefully, Richard. Your beautiful soul is finally free.
To study how to be an actor. And in that school, Los Angeles City College.
Breaking news. Morgan Freeman. A legendary voice, a life in pieces, and the quiet road back. Where is he now? The man whose voice made you believe in God, in justice, in second chances. The man Hollywood handed roles that no one else could carry. He has spent 6 decades making other people's stories feel eternal. But no one was narrating his. Do you remember the first time you heard that voice? Not in a theater, not in a documentary, just somewhere. And you stopped, because something about it felt true, on a scale of 1 to 10. How invincible did you think Morgan Freeman was at his peak? Tell us in the comments. He was born in Memphis, Tennessee, in 1937, the youngest of 5 children. His father was a barber, his mother a schoolteacher. They were poor, genuinely poor, not Hollywood poor, the kind of poor where your parents leave you with your grandmother in Mississippi because the city might offer something better. His grandmother died when he was 6. He moved again, then again, Mississippi, Indiana, Chicago. He was a child who belonged nowhere and kept moving anyway. The first time he ever stood on a stage, it wasn't a choice. He was 12 years old, sent there as punishment for a classroom prank. He was supposed to be embarrassed. Instead, he won the whole competition. Something woke up that day. But the road ahead was nothing like a dream sequence. He turned down a partial drama scholarship, joined the Air Force instead. Thought a uniform would give him direction. What he got was a desk, a radar screen, and years of sitting still while his real calling quietly called out to him. He left in 1959, moved to Hollywood, and spent the next 2 decades doing the invisible work. Day jobs, night auditions, off-Broadway roles that paid nothing, television appearances that led nowhere. Most men would have quit by 40. Morgan Freeman was 50 years old when Hollywood finally noticed him. 50. That's when Street Smart earned him his first Oscar nomination. Then came Driving Miss Daisy, The Shawshank Redemption, and finally, in 2005, $1 Million Baby, and the gold statuette he'd been working toward for 3 decades. He had done what almost no one in that industry does. He had outlasted the clock. He looked untouchable. He wasn't. August 3rd, 2008. Late night. On a country road outside Charleston, Mississippi. His car left the highway and rolled. Multiple times. Emergency workers had to use hydraulic tools to cut him free from the wreckage. He was conscious. He even joked with the photographer at the scene. That's the thing about Morgan Freeman. He always made it look easier than it was. But this time, the damage was permanent. The nerves in his left arm were destroyed. His hand went partially paralyzed. He told a reporter 2 years later, quietly, almost matter-of-factly, "I suffered nerve damage, and it hasn't gotten better. I can't move it." Doctors told him he needed to keep the hand moving or it would swell. He joked about how many times a person moves their hand in a single day. He laughed. But behind that laugh was a man wearing a compression glove every single morning, just to keep the blood flowing through fingers that could no longer feel anything. That accident triggered fibromyalgia, chronic body-wide pain, fatigue, muscle stiffness. There is no cure. There has never been a cure. He has lived with it every day since, and in that same season of wreckage, the marriage ended. 26 years with Myrna Colley Lee. She filed for divorce. The papers were sealed. The reasons were kept private. What the public got instead were rumors, tabloid headlines, and the image of a man standing alone on the other side of a life he had helped build. He didn't fight the press. He didn't perform grief for the cameras. He just went quiet. But quiet is not the same as healed. Then came the blow that no amount of stoicism could absorb. Idina Hines had been in his life since she was a little girl. His step-granddaughter, the granddaughter of his first wife. He and Myrna had raised her, loved her, watched her grow. She was 33 years old when her boyfriend stabbed her 25 times on a public street in Manhattan. August 2015. Morgan Freeman released a statement. He said, "The world will never know her artistry and talent and how much she had to offer." That was it. No interview, no breakdown in front of a camera. Just those words and then silence. Some losses are too large for public grieving. And still, his body kept demanding more. By the time he reached his mid-80s, his heart could no longer maintain a steady rhythm on its own. He needed a pacemaker. Yet the man who had lent his voice to God, who had narrated the universe in a dozen documentaries, now needed a small battery-powered device in his chest just to keep his heartbeat regular. The irony doesn't need dramatizing. It speaks for itself. Here is what most people miss about Morgan Freeman. He never stopped. Not after the accident. Not after the divorce. Not after losing Idina. Not after the health scares stacked up year after year. In 2025, he still has 3 projects in production. He still plays golf on the Mississippi course where he lives. He still wears the compression glove and shows up anyway. He recently partnered with a pharmaceutical company to raise awareness about a serious, underdiagnosed heart condition that disproportionately affects older Black men. He didn't need to do that. He chose to. When a reporter asked him what turning 88 means to him, he didn't talk about legacy. He didn't talk about his Oscar. He said, "Will I still be playing golf?" That's not a man performing humility. That's a man who figured out, slowly, painfully, and at great cost, what actually matters. He once said, "I no longer care about proving my strength. What I seek now is connection, kindness, and the values that make a life whole." He didn't arrive at that line easily. It took broken bones, a paralyzed hand, a collapsed marriage, a granddaughter buried too young, and a machine in his chest keeping time for him. The last image worth holding on to, an 88-year-old man, a worn compression glove on his left hand, a golf course in Mississippi, not far from where his grandmother raised him in a state that once treated people who looked like him as less than human. The morning light coming through, quiet. He's not narrating someone else's story anymore. He's living his own, one careful, grateful day at a time. Decades ago. As the voice said, "I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged." He was talking about someone else. He was talking about himself. What's your most unforgettable Morgan Freeman moment? A line, a film, or simply that voice finding you at exactly the right time? Share it in the comments and subscribe, because every story like this one deserves to be told.